resound the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. March on till victory is won.
All right.
Right.
Let's see. So looks like we have a few of you on today. Let's see, got about 11 of you on here. So we're gonna go ahead and get the ball rolling. So thank you everyone for joining us today. This webinar, we have with us today, Mr. Jay Jones. And before we get going, we're gonna try to do a few housekeeping items here just to make sure that we're on pace here. One is that you have been automatically muted, so only today's speakers are on camera, but also please feel free to use the chat for any comments as we go. We have some time at the end too where we'll open things up. Mr. Jones here will be opening it up for some Q&A. So just make sure you take your notes as you go along the way. And lastly, this webinar is recorded and will be dispersed to everyone who registered within the next week. So we do encourage you to re-listen to this program. So we will be doing also a survey after every event, and of course, some of the most common topics that you guys want to see, so we can make sure we keep bringing you some of that good information. Some of you actually have been farming for years, but as we talked about, not quite able to get over the hump, and that's really why we brought you this topic today. Some of us are just at the start line, interested in becoming a producer, but not quite sure what the next step is. And so the rest of us are kind of somewhere in between when it comes to entrepreneurship. So, and personally for myself, I've kind of experienced all of the above in my business endeavors. So it wasn't until I read a classic book, which I actually mentioned to Mr. Jones in our conversations leading up to this presentation, called The E-Myth. And it wasn't until I read that book that I understood why, a big reason why I was having so many challenges. And basically the E-Myth, it kind of explains in a nutshell that when you become a business owner, you're really wearing, there's really three key components, three real hats that you're wearing. And while most of us are adequate at a couple of them, especially us as farmers, we're technicians, we're good at getting our hands in the dirt there. And we may be good at managing our operations, but that third thing is usually that one thing that most of us neglect or we don't really have developed skills in. It's the entrepreneurial skills. So because of this, most small businesses that you see out there, I don't want to steal too much of Brother Jones's thunder there, but go out of business.
No problem, brother. Keep going, man.
So it's the truth. They go out of business. So I get a lot of calls, and folks are asking me, hey Phil, or hey P Wade, can we get, can you tell me some information on this business loan, or can you do this or do that? And I don't mind doing it, but we really have to get the fundamentals. So I kind of cringe when I get those calls, because we want to make sure that you have the fundamentals so you can build long-lasting businesses. So tonight's presenter totally gets all of this. If I understand it right, he's kind of been through everything. He's kind of stubbed his toes. So he's trying to get you the cheat notes, so we don't have to stub our toes as farmers and ranchers, especially as we're leading towards building legacy and generational wealth for our families. So he is a person that I actually had an opportunity to, I've actually been a fan from afar for a while. I've been listening to his podcast for years, even completed a few of his training programs. And matter of fact, you guys are seeing some of his work when you read those newsletters that you enjoy each week. I got that nugget from him amongst a few other nuggets that really work. So really excited to have Mr. Jones with us. Jay is a serial entrepreneur and a founder of Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Jay's purpose is to help provide an actionable blueprint for Black entrepreneurs across America, regardless of the industry, and to help launch, build, and grow successful businesses that stand the test of time. He's been, 20 plus years, Jay, of experience as a successful entrepreneur.
Yes.
He's built over 17 businesses and has lived the full gamut when it comes to business and experience. And he's actually, after losing it all twice, he's built 2 multi-million-dollar businesses. So we got the right guy here. Jay's philosophy after leaving corporate America was to bet on himself. And since then, he hasn't looked back. So he's the author, speaker, and coach, and enjoys sharing his story and formula for successful entrepreneurship with all. So Mr. Jones, it's your floor. Take it away.
I appreciate it. Thanks. First and foremost, I want to thank you, Phil, for allowing me to speak to your membership. It's a great honor, and I greatly appreciate it. One of the things that I want to talk about, guys, I'm not going to bore you with a lot of slides, but I do have a sheet that has resources, and they also have the actual 10 tips to make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. So you can take notes if you want, or you can wait for the sheet that Phil will send out, I'm sure, after the webinar is on. So just a little backstory about myself. Phil mentioned that I've seen the gamut of entrepreneurship, highs and lows. So I literally almost lost it all 2 times. Out of the 17 businesses that I've started, 5 of them were abject failures. 5 of them were so-so businesses. Probably another 5 of them were really good businesses. And then I had 2 winners. The first one, my first multi-million-dollar business I built in the early 2000s, was a mortgage company. You guys are old enough to know what happened in 2008 with the financial crisis. So literally, my company went from myself and a business partner in a 1,000 square foot office, 2 phones, and a thermal fax machine. So I'm dating myself, thermal fax machine. And we built that to over 50 plus employees and hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues over that 8-year period, averaging about $7 to $8 million a year at our peak. And that's revenues, not sales, but that's revenues, hip pocket national. And that's what you put in your hip pocket. And so 2008 came and I had all my eggs in one basket, and literally the crash came and I almost lost everything, my homes, my cars, everything. But I was blessed to be able to refocus and be able to rebuild. And so, and I want to tell you guys this story because it doesn't matter where you are, it matters where you're going. And so when I was laying on the couch one day, looking up at the ceiling, my wife and my 2 daughters were sleeping comfortably, I guess, because I'm the one dealing with all the stress. And I said, man, when I make a comeback, what is it going to look like? And what is it going to be? So I started thinking about the things that I like to do, the things that I don't like to do. So I started looking at, okay, I don't want to have an office with paying $12,000 a month rent in Center City, Philadelphia anymore. I don't want 50 employees. I don't want to have to go into the office every day. And I don't want to have the responsibility of, employing a whole lot of people. And some of the things that I did want, I wanted freedom and flexibility. I wanted unlimited income. I wanted the ability to come and go as I please. And I wanted to focus on spending time with my daughters and my wife. So that's and the comeback I made actually was through e-commerce. And subsequent to that, I started the podcast, which actually was before the e-commerce. And I started building digital products that I sell, physical products. I do coaching and I've created physical product brands too. So for example, one of my brands, which is probably going to be kind of funny to you guys, I have a flat iron business, a hair flat iron business. Now I'm a bald headed black dude with no hair, right? But opportunity was there. I saw a gap or a niche in the marketplace that I could take advantage of. And I built that business into a multi-million-dollar business, along with some of my other e-commerce product businesses and digital businesses. And so when I made my comeback the second time, guys, like I said, I wanted to figure out something that was aligned with what I wanted to do. And so I just want to backtrack before I get into the 10 tips. The first time I almost lost my business was I came out of corporate America, and I want to share this because this is actually tip number one, but I wanted to share this. I have 3 children. My wife and I have 3 children. My oldest daughter right now is 26. My youngest daughter is 23, and my son would have been 21 right now. But my wife and I lost our son at 17 months old due to brain cancer. So he was diagnosed at 6 months old and battled for 11 months. So when I talk about my why and I talk about freedom and flexibility, family has always been paramount to me. So when you're in the club that I'm in, unfortunately, losing a child, that just makes it, heightens it. And so the first time I almost lost everything, I had just gone out on my own. My wife was a teacher at the time, and she had the benefits because I left corporate America. And so a couple months after I left, we noticed that my son was sick, and my wife had to stay home to, take care of him and also get him to the doctor every day or every week. And then we eventually went through surgery and chemotherapy. So while she was out, we didn't have benefits. I was paying Cobra. My business just started, and anybody that has a business, sometimes your income is up and down. And it just so happened I didn't have time to really get a foothold in my business. And so we started getting behind on bills. And once again, well, that was the first time. I'm fighting for life in the Jones household. So we're stressed to the gills. And once again, we almost lost it all. That was the first time, but I was blessed to be able to make a comeback. And then obviously in 2008, the mortgage crash came, and that almost took me out again. But one of the things that I always talked about, guys, was being authentic and using your talents or your genius to make money. And your genius is the intersection between your passion and your talent. So some people chase paper, some people chase passion. And I used to chase paper a whole lot until I figured out I have to be authentic. The more authentic you are in your pursuit of entrepreneurship, the more successful that you're going to be. It's just a function of how it is. You can make a lot of money doing something you don't like, but if you do something that you're passionate about and that you're good at, your chances of success are a lot better. So today I'm going to talk about 10 tips that can help you live your entrepreneurial dreams. Now, these tips are good for any type of business. Okay. I was telling Phil before, my stepfather, God rest his soul, was an agriculture major, and he used to do a lot of farming in South Carolina. I know it's a different temperate in Texas as it is South Carolina, but he used to teach me about the soil, how to plant, when to plant. So it was kind of funny when Phil reached out to me. So that's something that I kind of grew up on. Even though I grew up in Philadelphia, but I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and also when my mom remarried in South Carolina. Let's jump in real quick, and we're going to do a Q&A afterwards, guys. That's probably where you're going to get the best information, is that interaction and dialogue. So once I'm finished going over this stuff, please ask me any questions about my business, your business, entrepreneurship in general, anything you need, because that's where my superpower comes in. So number one, and I was talking about the 10 tips to make your entrepreneurial dreams come true. Number one is identify your why. And I touched on that earlier. So my why has always been to spend time with my family, right? To make a living and build my business around my lifestyle and not my lifestyle around my business. Many times people, you hear this, oh, I'm gonna outwork you. Nobody's going to work harder than me. That's great. But realistically, you can't keep up a pace where you're working 16, 18, 20 hours at a time a day. It's not possible. So I always like to think about the why, but always work smarter. So once again, what is your why? So for example, when I created my first e-commerce business, it gave me everything that I needed. It gave me freedom and flexibility. Didn't have employees. I had passive or semi-passive income. Okay. And I just want to tell you guys this too. So to let you know that anything is possible. Now, when I started my e-commerce business and I started my flat iron business, and this is just an example, my wife and my girls were cracking up. They were like, "What are you doing now, dude?" And what happened was my wife's flat iron broke. She was going to work and she was like, "Man, I got to go to the mall after work and get a flat iron." And I said, out of curiosity, I said, "Well, how much does a flat iron cost?" And she said, "Oh, anywhere from $150 to $200. And the light bulb went off. I'm like, "For this piece of stuff?" And she said, "Yeah." And she said it has to have ceramic plates, high heat, has to have all these gadgets on it. So what I did was, I'm always looking for opportunity. So I went on Alibaba.com, which is a website that allows you to go and connect with manufacturers of products. And most of them are in China. And what happened was I found a couple of flat irons that look similar to my wife's flat iron. And I ordered a couple of samples from 3 different companies. And I let my wife and my 2 daughters try these out for several weeks to find out which one they thought was best out of the 3. So after that period of time, they all picked the same flat iron manufacturer. So I reached out to them. I ordered 100 flat irons. I did it backwards, but I did something right. I actually trademarked the brand without proof of concept, trademarked it. I had high level packaging, and I presented the product as a high-end salon grade professional flat iron. Now that flat iron shipped directly from China to my doorstep cost me $10.78 with all my packaging and everything. Now, I was selling the flat iron for $129. And the same flat iron manufacturer that was making them for me was making them for other companies, and they were only selling them for $30 to $40. First question is, why could I sell mine for a higher price? I position my flat iron differently than other people position theirs. I position mine once again as a professional salon grade tool. My website looked like it. All of my verbiage looked like it. My images looked like it. And so literally from July of 2015 to December of 2015, I grossed $272,000 at a 70% profit margin, literally putting in my pocket about $140,000, $150,000 in 6 months. And from there, guys, it was on. The race was on. So I say that to say this: identify your why. The why, once again, for me was spending time with my family. Once again, I lost my son. It was being able to have flexibility. My daughters used to play field hockey, swim, soccer, and they were in a lot of academic stuff at school. And one of my greatest things, guys, that I can tell people is that I never missed, from my youngest daughter's sophomore year, I never missed a home field hockey game, an away field hockey game, a scrimmage, or an AAU travel game, home or away. And they used to ask my daughter, "What does your dad do? Does he work?" Yes, I do work, but I'm building my business around my lifestyle, not my lifestyle around my business. And spending time and sharing those memories that you can't get back, that's my why. And so that's tip number 1, identify your why. Number 2, who do you serve and why? So you have to understand who you serve to be able to serve them, right? Now I have multiple businesses, so I serve different clientele or customers, but I'll talk about Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. So with Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and the ecosystem around it, I serve Black entrepreneurs, and I serve them by providing them actionable content, products, and services that are going to help move them from point A to point B. You need to understand who your target market is. So I'm a Black entrepreneur, so I understand who my target market is, and I know how to speak to them. So you need to understand, who do you want to serve and why? Why do I want to serve them? Because I want all of the entrepreneurs that I interact with to be successful and build successful, sustainable businesses. That's tip number 2. Number 3, find the right product or service to sell. Many times we get caught up on what we like or what we want, right? Perfect example. I have a good buddy of mine. He's in the home automation. He's always loved gadgets. He's like a brother of mine. I've known him for 30 plus years since college. And so every product that he thinks of, he thinks about himself, what products he would like. And I'm trying to explain to him, it's not about what you like, it's what the people like. And so when you figure out or try to find out a product or service, you have to identify something that's profitable. And here's something, I don't care what product or service it is, guys. When you're selling something, always put into your calculations monies that you're going to need to market and advertise your product. Most times people, and I'll just use a physical product, for example, I'll use my flat irons. So if I'm selling my flat iron for $129 and it costs me $10.78, $11, right? I got $118 to play with. So I literally could spend $100 on advertising and marketing and still make $18 if I sold that. Not that that's the objective, but you have to understand, you got to find the right product or service with the margins that allow you to be profitable. And so it's not about what you like, it's about filling a need most times, right? So the easiest way to find a product or service to sell is a simple formula: problem, solution, result. What's the problem? Your product or service is the solution. And the result is what happens when they use J. Jones' product. That's the result. And so if you can solve a problem, you can very easily start a business and be successful. So once again, number 1, identify your why. Number 2, who do you want to serve? Number 3, find the right product or service to sell. Number 4, and this is something that I always talk about, is prepare to be successful. You know, a lot of times people start businesses and they literally have no idea what they're doing. And that's normal when you're starting your first business. But if you've been in business for a while, you have to prepare to be successful. And what does that look like? Learning, right? Always continue to educate yourself. When I talked to Phil the other day, he talked about his dad always was, hey, you got to learn, you got to learn. And I'm gonna tell you guys, if you're not learning, there's no such thing as standing still. You're going backwards. Everybody else is moving forward. So whatever your occupation is, if you're a rancher, you're a farmer, whatever, you need to understand and keep learning about your business. How can you be more profitable? Are there other opportunities that I can use with my land, with my resources, that I can make money? Another thing when it comes to preparing to be successful is planning, right? So a lot of times people get jammed up on business plans, right? Business plans are great, but understand business plans are fluid. Okay, a business plan is basically based on assumptions, right? And trust me, I've written many business plans. First business plan I wrote, probably about 150 pages, and I could have used that or should have used that to start my fire in the wintertime, because everything I had on there was way off. I knew absolutely nothing. So I'm not saying don't do a business plan, but you need to understand that your business plan is fluid. It will change unless you just hit everything, on point, but it will change. So you need to make sure that you do plan. One of the biggest reasons that businesses fail, especially Black-owned businesses, is lack of capital. And so you have to be cognizant of what capital that you have available. Sometimes you may not be able to start your business right away. And what you do is you accumulate the capital or the resources until you have everything, and then you start your business. Case in point, one of my businesses was an ADT alarm dealership. Now, Phil told you I had about 17 different businesses, right? So this was an ADT alarm business. So I was working in corporate America, and I wrote a list down of what I needed to open my business. I needed an office, I needed desks, I needed computers, I needed phones, I needed salespeople. And so every time I got paid, I would buy something that I need to open up my office. I buy a desk, I buy computers. And after about 6 months, I had all of the resources I needed to physically open the office. So I moved in on a Thursday or Friday. I had the office all laid out. I even ran ads for employees. And that Monday, when the lights came on and the door opened, I was interviewing people for sales positions and telemarketing positions. So being prepared, planning. So you need to make sure that you understand what you need to be successful. So if you're trying to build a house and all you have is a hammer, that's not going to work. What tools do you need to truly be successful in your business? Another thing you want to look at is in terms of preparing to be successful is researching opportunities. What opportunities are available? Which opportunities make the most sense for where you are right now? Your situation may be lack of capital. It may be something else. So where are the best opportunities for you to attack? Also, testing, proof of concept prior to starting your business, okay? And this is big, guys. A lot of people start businesses and have no idea what they're doing. Most of us, myself included, when I started. But you need to have proof of concept. So if you don't have proof of concept, you don't know if it's going to work. And proof of concept, you can do all of your surveys, you can do all of your focus groups, you can do all of that stuff. You can ask your family and friends, and they're going to tell you, oh yeah, Jay, that sounds like a great idea. The true proof of concept, the way you get that is by somebody going in their pocket and actually buying what you're selling. That's true proof of concept. One question I get is, well, Jay, how do I test that? And here's another real life example. And I'm gonna move through these real quick, but I want to give you guys real actionable steps, real life examples. I was selling a supplement, which was a nootropic, which supposedly helps you think and be more cognizant and focused. And so what I did was I went to the manufacturer and I was branding it under my label. And what I did was I said, you know what? How much is it for me to order 100 bottles, 100 units? And the price per bottle was $4, $4.50. And I said, okay, I created my label and I said, now, how long would it take you to put my label on and ship these bottles out to me if and when I sell them? And they said, oh, it'll take about 3 to 4 days. I said, great. So what I did was I got a couple of sample bottles. I tried the product. I let other people try the product. They liked it. They thought it worked. So now instead of buying 100 bottles or 500 bottles of this product that I don't know if I can sell, I literally got a graphic designer to create an image of the bottle with my label. And I created a landing page or a sales page, and I drove traffic to the page. And the objective was if I sold 25 or more of these bottles of this supplement, then I would order the 100 bottles and fulfill those orders. If I didn't, I would refund the money and figure out that, you know what, the proof of concept isn't there. So there are ways to get proof of concept. Another thing I did one time was if I was looking for salespeople, I had an advertising business. Man, am I able to get salespeople with my compensation plan? So before I started the business, I ran dummy ads, dummy employment ads, and literally interviewed people and gave people or asked them if they would take the job to find out if I could find salespeople. Proof of concept. All right. So these are some of the things that you can do to help understand if the business or product or service you're selling is going to be successful. All right, let's jump to number 5, right? Start with small wins. Start with small wins. So a lot of times we need those little wins to give us confidence. So you don't want to necessarily go in, like I said, with buying 100 bottles of this supplement and seeing if I could sell it. Let me see if I could sell 5 bottles. Let me see if I could sell 10 bottles, 25 bottles. But you want to get in the habit of winning, because in entrepreneurship, it's hard to win. All right, to win the long game is hard. You know, you have all types of different things that you're dealing with. And so you want to get small wins. The small win could be, you know what? My first win could be creating my business plan. All right. Once that's done, I have a time limit set on that. I got it done by that time. I'm going to go treat myself to a nice dinner. All right. Next, I got to create my product or service. Got that done, treat myself or whatever. But you need to kind of gamify it sometimes to make sure that you get those small wins, because it's not if you're going to get losses and setbacks. That's natural for entrepreneurship. It comes with the territory. Anybody tells you that they started a business and went from 0 to 100 is either lucky as heck or they're lying to you. And it's probably the latter, because there's always things that you got to deal with and focus on. Number 6, real quick, and we're going to do some Q&A, guys. So have those questions lined up. And like I said, it could be about your business, my business, entrepreneurship, or anything like that. Number 6, set realistic goals and measure your progress. So one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs fail on is they don't really understand where they are in the process because they don't set goals. And a lot of times when you do set goals, they're not realistic goals. So you want to set goals that are not too crazy where you know you can't hit them, but not too easy where you're going to easily hit them. So if you have a goal saying in the first month, I'm going to sell 250, if you own a gym, 250 gym memberships, that's probably a lot, right? Or you could say, you know what, first month, I'm going to sell 20, month 2, 30, month 3, 50 or whatever. They're reasonable goals, but the goals need to be goals that are going to stretch you, right? It's just like exercise. If you do the same exercise for 3 months in a row, after a while, your body stops responding because it's used to it, right? You get accustomed to it. So what you want to do, guys, is you want to set realistic goals. And the way that you gauge yourself is you have to measure key performance indicators, right? And I just want to divert real quick. When I say set realistic goals and measure your progress, in terms of your progress, you have to set a time limit on that, right? So goal, if it doesn't have an end date or finite date, it's not a goal, it's a wish. So it has to, this month or the next 30 days, I'm going to do this. The next 60 or 90 days, I'm going to do this. And then you need to measure how you set up, stack up against your actual goals, because that's going to tell you if you're doing well or if you're doing bad. If you're running a race and you're running against 9 other people, all you got to do is look around. Oh, I'm number 1 or I'm number 10. You can easily see that. But when you're dealing with yourself and you're in your business, there's nobody really around you that you can judge yourself against. So you need to make sure that you judge yourself and you set in key performance indicators to make sure that you're on track. Where are we? Number 7, support yourself with positive and like-minded people. The organization that you are in right now, this is beautiful for you, because as entrepreneurs, and I don't care what field you're in, you're a different breed. You're out there by yourself. And sometimes you need that validation and confirmation that you're doing the right thing. You need to talk to people that are going through the same thing that you're going through. People that can't sleep at night, people that maybe can't pay their electric bill, can't pay their mortgage, are struggling right now, doubting themselves. And so when you connect and have a collective where you can talk to somebody that knows exactly what you're going through, it really helps you out right there, because a lot of times you're going to start second guessing yourself. And I've done it for years, right? Maybe they were right. Maybe I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Sometimes they were right, sometimes they were wrong, but I always was confident in my skills. I've done it so long, I've become accustomed to being successful as an entrepreneur. I've gotten comfortable being uncomfortable. So most people who get a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks, every month or whatever, that's what they're comfortable with. When you're an entrepreneur, you got to eat what you kill most times. And so you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. All right, that's number 7. Once again, surround yourself with positive people and like-minded people. And let me just add this to it. Sometimes people don't want to see you successful. They may not say it. It could be your brother, your sister, husband, wife, partner, cousins, friends. Oh man, what are you doing? I mean, just go ahead and get a job, man. Go drive a bus or something. But a lot of times that comes from people not having the wherewithal or intestinal fortitude to go and chase their own dreams. Something I tell my girls all the time, my daughters: live a remarkable life. Dare to be great. Dare to be great. Because it's easy just to go along to get along, right? You want to look back and you don't want to say, damn, I wish I would have done that 30 years ago. When you get done, you want to be like, okay, been there, done that, tried it. Some things worked, some things didn't. Dare to be great. Live a remarkable life. Number 8, and this is key, guys, build your platform from day one and you can exponentially grow your business. What is a platform? So Phil kind of talked about it, touched on it earlier. That newsletter that you're getting, that is a platform that Phil created. And that platform allows you to communicate with your audience. Okay. So your platform should be focused on emails, phone numbers, and things of that nature. Social media is great, but a true platform is something that you own. You don't own Instagram, you don't own Twitter, you don't own Facebook, you don't own YouTube. You leverage those to build your database, and your database should be filled with emails. So perfect example, I had a coaching student, sister. She was in Canada and she was in the cannabis business, and she was teaching people how to grow cannabis. And she was also selling soil, hydroponics and things of that nature. Her whole entire following of, I think, 14, 15,000 people was on Instagram. Now, one of the products that she was selling, the soil, she was going to a big soil manufacturer in Canada. There was another person that was selling the same soil, and she was killing them. She was selling a lot more than he was. And what he did was he had his Instagram followers go and complain to Instagram that she's putting stuff on her Instagram page or channel that is against the terms of service. They literally shut her Instagram account down 5 times. And she kept getting it back. They would shut it down again. And finally, she quit, because that is not a platform. If you don't own it and control it, it is not a platform. Okay. So my podcast, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, nobody can stop me from putting that out, right? My newsletter, nobody can stop me from putting that out. My email database, I can send emails anytime I want to my database. I control that. So all of your social media, all of them, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, those, you leverage those to build your platform because you don't control it. Okay. You look at Donald Trump, right? They shut him down on Twitter and I think damn near everything else, right? And was the ex-president of the United States. He didn't control that platform. So always control your platform. And this is something I want to say too, real quick, excuse me, about platforms. So many times when people start a business or, create a product or service, whatever it is, they focus on the product or service and they don't focus on building a platform. So for example, if I'm starting a new podcast, this is exactly what I would do. The first thing I would do is create a newsletter about whatever topic or subject my podcast is going to be on. And while I'm getting my content together, putting my episodes together, I'm going to be building my database through that newsletter. So when Jay Jones' podcast comes out, I'm not scratching my head and talking about, damn, who's going to listen? I'm already going to have a database, a platform to release that podcast on. And so it doesn't matter if it's ranching, farming, whatever, building a platform to be able to effectively communicate with your audience. That's critical, guys. And I know it may sound harder than it is, but it's not. Phil will tell you with the newsletter, that's probably the easiest way to do that, to build a platform. Number 9, you got to be consistent. Okay. So my podcast, I'm on next Monday will be episode 403. So 403 weeks consecutively, every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, on all your major podcast platforms and YouTube, you getting a new episode from Jay Jones and Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. My audience knows that every Monday when they get up, if they get up after 5, they got something new sitting there waiting for, some new heat. And that is consistency. And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be consistency in working out, consistency and doing things that you may not see immediate results from, but it builds over time. The time value of consistency. Okay. The more consistent I am, the further I'm going to go. And people will start to look for you because you're consistent. I can't tell you, I think the average podcast show only averages 7 to 8 episodes, because people start something and they never finish. I had a buddy ask me the other day, hey man, I'm getting ready to start a podcast. I think I'm gonna do it maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. I said, don't even waste your time. I said, you need to have consistency. Your people need to know once a week at minimum, and when you're coming out, what day. So you always need to be consistent. Just think about it. So in terms of getting in shape, right? I could bust my hump for 30 days straight and be in great shape or better shape. And if I stop for a month or 2 months or whatever, I'm right back to square one instead of being consistent. And number 10 and last, guys, treat your business like a business, not a hobby. All right. So you don't put anything in, you're not getting nothing out. Right. And I know there are a lot of people that may be in that transition from employee to entrepreneur, but you have to start looking at where you value your time. So if I'm working and trying to build a business on the side, if I come home and I play video games for 3 hours, I watch TV for 5 hours, come on, you're not serious about your business. Stop treating your business like a hobby so you can get out of it what you need to get out of it. So if I need freedom, flexibility, and a certain level of income, I need to respect that business. I need to respect the time and the input I put into that so I can get out of it what I need. So, it's just like what you put in your mind. Garbage in means garbage out, right? No work in means no money out. So really respect that. Entrepreneurship, I'm telling you, it is a profession. It ain't a side hustle. It is a profession. And it's a profession built on consistency, systems, and all types of different things. But it is a profession. So anybody that tells you, yeah, I'm hustling is good. And I'm gonna end with this, and then we can do a little Q&A real quick. There are 3 stages, and Wade kind of touched on this. There are 3 stages to every business. The problem is most people aren't equipped to be able to lead your business through the 3 stages. So my podcast, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, is launch, build, and grow your successful, sustainable business. A launch stage, which could also be your startup stage. Some people have great ideas, great concepts, and they can get the ball rolling. The build stage or the systemization stage. Okay, so launch, build, and grow, or startup, systematize, and scale. So we'll say the systemization phase of your business. Once you get up and running, in order to move forward to the second to the third phase, you need to systematize your business. Can you create systems? How do people answer the phone? How is this procedure done? And the 2 biggest systems that you need to focus on first are your lead generation system. How do you sell your product or service? How are you generating those leads? And it needs to be a consistent generation of leads, not a scattershot generation of leads. And it's all going to be different based on your business. That's system number 1. System number 2 is fulfillment, your fulfillment system. How do you fulfill those sales that you made? Those are the first 2 systems that you need to focus on in that second stage or phase of your business. And the third phase is scaling. So you have startup, systemization, and then scale. Scaling means putting a little bit of effort or resources to get a big return. So scaling is not, I put $1 million into my business and I made $1 million in $1 million and $5. That's not scaling. Scaling is I allotted $100,000 in resources, but I generated $1 million. So scaling, that really means taking yourself out of the business. And Phil talked about the E-myth, Michael Gerber, working on your business, not in your business, replacing yourself, and also being able to scale up, be it your products or your services or other aspects that are going to make a big difference with a little work. It's basically leveraging your system. So the 3 phases that your business, I don't care what business it is, startup, systemization, and scale. And unfortunately, most of us are not equipped to move your company through those 3 phases. That's why I always say that if you're not learning and building and working on yourself, you're going backwards. There's no such thing, guys, as standing still. So I also have a sheet that I sent to Wade or Phil, and it has these 10 tips. And I also have some resources My book is out. It's called A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-commerce Businesses. I gave Phil a code where you guys can download the book for free. And so if you have a Kindle reader or any type of e-reader, you can download it and you'll be able to read the book for free. That's my gift, my appreciation for Phil bringing me to talk to you guys. And once again, I have other links and resources on there that you'll be able to tap in with me via my podcast, reaching out to me and anything you need. So on my website, I have tons of resources for you to help launch, build, and grow your business. So on that sheet, you can go to blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Tons of resources. I have an ecosystem. And, once again, I have online courses. I have master classes. I have an academy where you can go in and take courses and learn how to scale and build your business. But that's all I have for the actual content. And in terms of the Q&A, any questions that you have, guys, I'm an open book about my business. We can talk about your business or entrepreneurship in general. And this is where my superpower comes in, because I'm pretty quick on that.
Oh man, powerful. Thanks so much. It's almost like you read my mind. Matter of fact, you said 45 minutes and you hit that on the nose too. But
man.
Pretty much, for at least based on what I know and understand with the folks that are on the call, we're all in launch phase. So
okay,
the beautiful thing is that a lot of us can do this together. That's why we have you on now. Next month we'll be talking about, be getting into the business planning and the systemization stuff too. So wanted to start here. So appreciate that. I'm going to open it up for questions. If I'm new to this Zoom, but if you could raise your hand, and we'll see if that works. If anyone has any questions, or you could type it into the Q&A. While they are typing those in, or while I'm perusing and seeing if anyone raised their hand. I'm not sure if they could do that on there, but hopefully so. You said proof of concept. And so I just want to run this by you, because you said proof of concept. You said another thing, start with small wins. And I know that there are opportunities that are in front of a lot of us right now, such as farmers markets, and while that's not wholesaling, it's at least giving us the opportunity, in my mind anyway, that maybe I have a product, maybe I'm selling collard greens, and I could take it to the farmers market, see what the demand is, see what the price is. Am I on the right track there?
Yeah, definitely. So when you talk about small wins, we talked off air a couple of days ago. I have a brother that runs an investment group out of North Carolina, and they had just financed a microgreens farm. And literally how that started was the farmer was playing around with the microgreens, and he was selling them at a farmer's market and to local restaurants in small trays. And the brother I know saw that, and he was like, man, this is a great industry. And if you can scale this, it's even better. So they invested in him. He has a couple of warehouses, and now he's producing these microgreens like crazy, and they're shipping them out all over North and South Carolina, and he's growing. You had just mentioned the collard greens, right? And so if you can get into major retail stores. So for example, one of my, y'all know I probably have entrepreneur ADD. So this is my hot sauce, right? It's called Hell Yeah Hot Sauce. So I got about 4 flavors, and the focus on this was I used to play around with hot sauce, something I make, and I enjoyed it. People were like, dude, you need to bottle it up and sell it. And so I said, well, I can't physically make, batches and tubs. So I took the recipes to a co-packer who now creates them in bulk, And now I'm selling online at my site, hellyeahhotsauce.com. And I'm talking to major retailers right now to get the hot sauce in there. And this is just something that I did. I like to play around with stuff. And one of my big hits right now is the mini bottles, right? So regular size, and this is the minis. So the minis, these are like the bottles, liquor bottles you would get into, in the hotels. And so in convenience stores that sell food and stuff like that, this has actually become a big hit because I have a pack where they sit on the counter and it's a impulse buy and people are buying it. And it all came from a concept. I said, let me try it out. And literally, guys, I started that business about $1,000, literally, to start. So I didn't go and buy 5,000 bottles of each flavor. I only started out, I had, hey, produce 100 bottles of this, each of the flavors. And I started that way, and I started getting it out there and selling it. And so small wins, man, if you can conceive it, I'm telling you, it's possible. It's possible. So, and I'm into a lot of different things. So I think I got entrepreneur ADD, but it works for me.
I love it. I love it. All right. We have Joseph Tutt.
Is he coming on? He got a chat question.
Oh. I had a quick question.
Okay.
You talk about your platform,
yes,
and your base, not controlling Facebook. And so I know that, and there's a name called Joe Collins. There are people with that name, but for business purposes, I've reserved it so that when we get ready to incorporate, it's going to be a DBA, but my platform is distribution.
Okay.
So since I don't have refrigeration, now I have one guy in Dallas where I don't have to go city to city. So I'll be Fort Worth and Waco. I have another person that's in Temple, and I'm working on another guy that's going to be in Houston.
Okay.
And so my deal is to grow through distributors who are outselling for me. And a gentleman told me, as well as my mentor, Mr. Wade, Popper Wade, Phil's dad, he said, Tut, if you just the only one eating, you don't make that much. But when everybody eats, everybody gets full. Everybody got meat in the freezer, money in the bank. So I'm like, hey, sell for me. We do a 60-40 split. So now I got people coming to sell my product.
That's what's up.
Where I can't be there to make that $13, but I get 40% of it.
That's beautiful.
I got another guy in another state. His son does a network for peaches. Well, Texarkana is in that network to get it to Memphis. So once we get the hoop houses, I got a guy in Tyler said, look, I'm gonna give you a piece of this bread. You come down here, we're gonna scoop it up, put it in these crates. You pick it up, take it to Texarkana, they're gonna pick it up, put it in that system, and they're gonna deliver. Until we're able to get to the point where we can package, ice it up, and ship it. Because even the big boys, Baker Farms got 3,500 acres of collards, but I know the reality. Those collards in the back of a grocery store frozen, and they're no longer fresh.
Right, right. So man, see, one of the things, and this is a great word that I've been using a lot lately, is collaboration. So you're collaborating with your fellow entrepreneurs, getting your product out to places that you physically right now aren't able to get them to. It's funny because really, you're really talking about logistics now when you start trying to branch out. And so just like FedEx, Amazon is probably the king of logistics out there, but being able to create a network of distribution. So in terms of creating your platform for other people that are looking to collaborate could be some type of newsletter platform that you can reach out, maybe based on your area, because obviously you got to keep the food fresh, but being able to communicate with those people and other people that may have an interest in. So once again, it could be a newsletter, it could be a podcast, it could be whatever way they like to get communicated to. And I'm sorry, what's your name? Joe?
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. All right. And it's funny because one of the things is you have to understand how people communicate. So if I'm selling hearing aids, right, I'm probably not going to be on the internet. I'm probably not going to be on, I might be on Facebook, but I would probably be on early morning television because people are probably retired. They're probably going to be older. They're probably going to be watching TV. They may not be good on the internet, and they may be reading the newspaper. So I might be in the newspaper or magazines and television. So being able to communicate with people based on the way they like to be communicated with, that's how you can build your platform, however that is, be it a newsletter. Are there any type of consistent resources that you read or follow that help you with your business?
My videos, that's it, nothing. I mean,
okay.
Young guys are the ones that put me on Facebook. I was gonna be old school about it and go see the pastor and set up the church. And I did one video. The afternoon, an hour later, it was 1,000. By 3 o'clock Sunday morning, it was 3,000. By Tuesday, it was 12,000. Black Chamber in Arlington said, you went from 12 to 25 in one day. On Wednesday, it was 38,000. Before I knew it, I went from 350 friends to over 3,000 friends.
That's what's up.
Based on that one video where I said, neck bones, ham hock, turkey legs, we won't be undersold.
That's so, what's up, man. You're a hell of a marketer, man.
I took them college, and then the reason I don't want to give them the seed is because this product is better than what's on the market worldwide. They don't shrink. There's no bitterness, and it's a great taste. No matter what collard you cook, it's going to shrink. And these don't have any bitterness. They don't shrink, and they're tender. People think big greens, oh, they're going to be tough. Not these bad boys. So I got a new customer that's buying 50 bunches twice a week, so 100 bunches. Inflation says he's paying $300 a week. He's going to buy 5 plants from 5 head of collards. He's going to save $250.
Wow. Damn. So let me ask you, man, how much of this can you produce at a time?
This crop, we're going to produce 3,000. This fall crop, we're going to produce 4,000. Our hoop house will allow the alleviation between fall crop and the next spring for the restaurant customers. And we can get this hoop house from China that has 5,000 or 6,000 square foot spacing. That would probably allow us to produce maybe 4,000 cases with about 50 leaves, which would be the equivalent of almost 4 plants.
Okay.
Or 3.5, 4 plants. So I've decided, before it's a $20. We'll talk offline, but
okay.
Yeah, it's a $20, $30 collard. It's sold for 15. I was gonna do, no, we're gonna sell it for 10, move it. And a young man said, boss man, just like the dope game. I said, yeah, but it's better than that. They need this.
That's it.
We don't use herbicides or pesticides. We've gotten that under control with the caterpillars and cabbage worms. So now it's just getting a product to them that they won't get from the grocery stores.
Hey man, that. How far can you ship those out to individual customers? Or does that not make sense to you? So
right now it doesn't, because I'm an accountant during the week.
Okay.
And that means on Sunday we have to pack them up, put them in ice.
Okay.
I can't go ship till lunchtime, and I can't walk in there with. They're
Gotcha.
so large, but we'll talk offline. But we can ship.
Okay.
Them.
Gotcha. Okay, because it's funny. One of another brother I talked to that was in the mic, and I know micro, they're different microgreens business. He created a continuity program where each week people ordered X amount of, they had a standing order, of 2 whatever trays or whatever a week. And he started building his business. They would pay in advance, and he started building his business and kind of grew it out regionally where he was shipping. But once again, the logistics of that, like you said, didn't make sense.
Someone gave me that, the prepaid.
Right.
But, as a ranch manager and I talk, in our business, it's the weather.
Gotcha.
You don't want to take money up front and then a drought. We're in a drought right now, but thank God we got a water source.
Okay.
Then, you have a heat stroke.
Yeah.
It takes 600,000 gallons to grow an acre of collards. 600,000 gallons.
That's wild. Yeah, no, I get it. That makes sense. You don't want to overextend yourself and not be able to fulfill your order.
The seeds only cost me what? If I plant 4,000 head, it cost me $4.
Wow.
So
Damn.
you take that at what, 10, back to the original price of 15 a pop.
Yeah, that is like drug money, bro. But
The difference is you eat these collards, you're gonna know the difference between these and the grocery store. Like Papa told me, he said, let them get hooked like dope, then raise it.
there you go. There you go. That's
Hey,
good advice, man.
I had one of our members buy some I gave him some curly mustards.
Mhm.
He called me back, him and the wife were like, oh, they just so fresh. I said, y'all have said fresh like 3 or 4 times. You smell them in the house, they're so fresh. I'm like, yeah, because there's no chemicals.
Yeah.
But it's hard to figure that out though. Them cabbage worms come out there like a skeleton.
Yeah. So
Expendable help. That's the tough part.
So everything you're saying, that's ad copy right there. Fresh, tastes different, no chemicals, and that's what separates you. So when I was talking about those flat irons, positioning my flat irons at a higher price level, that's exactly what you're doing, bro. You know?
Yeah, that's
I'll see
perfect.
that video later on. Where I found later last week, I found out it cracked 280,000 views.
Woo.
And so there's
That's
people still liking it. And that was 2 years ago.
Damn. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful, bro. Yo, man, you can't ship me some to Philly, man. What's up?
We'll work something out. But I mean, what Phil is doing with us, you know, by opening up the doors, different opportunities, and knowing what you need as a food producer, that's key.
Right.
Because I found out that your collars are fine in the refrigerator 4 days max. You can push it. On that 4th day, you get them in that pot though.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we working on that refrigeration for you there, Mr. Tut. So stay tuned. You mess around. We're gonna get you. I'm gonna mute you because you're making my mouth water. But I had there's not another question here, but before I let you go, Brother Jones, I wanted to put this out there as a question just for you to hit it a little bit harder, since I shared with you that most of us are in the launch state. Can you touch on fear of failure? A lot of us have never really truly ran, a viable business, and so what that means is we're fragile,
Right.
We hit that road bump and it's like, well, man, this must not be for me. Let's run back to safety zone. With safety zone's okay. And maybe you could touch on that a little bit too, the moonlighting or the side gig type of thing till you get to where you're going. But I just wanted to have you hit on that before we left here, because a lot of us find ourselves in that situation. What's the mindset when we hit that speed bump and we're dealing with the fear of failure because this is unfamiliar territory?
All right. So first thing I want to say on that, Phil, is my grandfather used to say, if you scared, get a dog, right? Let me get that out the way. You scared, son, get a dog, right? He used to joke around. But really, it's all about expectation. So expectation, I've told this story on the podcast. When my wife and I went through before we got married, went through counseling with her pastor, and he said something I'll never forget. He said, expectation will make or break a relationship. Doesn't matter if it's a husband, wife, friendship, business, or whatever. So if the expectation is not met or exceeded, there's going to be an issue or a problem. And you can correlate that to entrepreneurship too. So let me tell y'all what to expect. You're going to fail. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to think that you're not going to be able to do it. So if you know that, knowing is half the battle. So if you know that ahead of time, you can control that. And so in terms of being able to change your mindset, the first thing that a successful entrepreneur does is the mindset shift and the mindset change. And that doesn't all happen at once. You don't just wake up and say, yeah, that's it. It's through the process. So understanding and recognizing the process of an entrepreneur. It's like this. That's the process. It ain't from here straight to the moon. It's up and down, wins and losses, setbacks, feeling that you can't do it. And so if you expect that it's not going to catch you by surprise. I'm a big boxing fan. The punch that knocks you out is the punch you don't see, right? But if I see something coming, I'm rolling with it. I'm parrying, I'm blocking. I'm rolling with that punch. That's what Chris Rock did it with Will Smith the other night. He rolled with it, right? He saw it coming and he rolled with it. That's unfortunate, but that's the expectation level. So when you get into this game, this profession, you expect that. It's like being a fighter. You get into the ring, you know you're going to get hit. And this is exactly what happens. But you need to have the wherewithal. You need to have the support through a group and organization like this. And you need to be able to continue to educate and learn. Once again, entrepreneurship is a profession. It is not a hobby. And so when you put yourself in that position that you're vulnerable, that's the only way you're going to be successful. It's just like love. You got to put your heart on the line to achieve that great love, right? It's same thing with entrepreneurship. You got to put your heart on the line and you got to understand what comes with that. And the only way that you're not successful as an entrepreneur, guys, is when you quit. All right. You're going to get banged up, bumps and bruises. That's going to happen. That's par for the course. But when you quit, it's truly the only time you lose. So even if you're not progressing at the speed you think you are, even if 5 of your businesses failed, I told you out of 17 businesses I created, 5 of them were abject failures, lost money. I mean, they were garbage. But I knew that if I kept doing it, I was going to understand and create a system or figure out how to be successful. So it's almost like going to your second semester of your 12th grade year and you quit. You lose. Entrepreneurship, you have to focus on and understand what you did wrong and never make that mistake again if you can possibly help it. And as you go through that process and you've made the mistakes, then you can propel yourself to a higher level. The way I become successful is from my failures. My failures taught me more than my successes. So it's almost like touching a hot stove. Oh man, I know not to do that again. So the expectations of setbacks and failures, they're coming. It ain't if, it's when and how many. And then as an entrepreneur, you solve problems. If you're a problem solver, you're going to continue to move forward. If you're a quitter and it's just got the best of you, that's what only time you lose, guys. But just expect the punches to come, expect the losses, and just be prepared to continue to move forward. Remember, that's why the number one tip I said is, what is your why? Because if your why is stronger than the things that are coming to you or at you, you're going to persevere. I talked about your genius, pinpoint and monetize your genius. Your genius is the intersection of your passion and your talent. If I'm doing something that I'm passionate about and I'm doing something that I'm good at, the chances of me succeeding are a lot greater than doing something when I'm just chasing the money. And so that's why when those roadblocks come up, those setbacks come up, I'm able to fight through them because I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I'm talented in what I'm doing. And a lot of times I'll close with this. If you can do 3 things, you're going to be successful. Number 1, do what you love. Number 2, do what you're good at. And number 3, do something that somebody will pay you for. You'll never work a day in your life.
Ooh, that's we're gonna end on that note right there. And
if I had a mic, I'd drop it, man.
Hey, it's dropped, man.
Oh man, actually, I got a mic. Hold on. There you go.
There it is. All right, man. Well, just man, great nuggets there that shared here today. And we're gonna finish things up so we get y'all back to your families. Reminder, we will once again be sending out a brief survey. Should come out in the next hour or so. We ask that you please take a minute to answer the 4 or 5 questions and just hit that send button. We've been getting maybe about a 10% response, and that really doesn't help us help you. You know, we want to put this thing together. These sessions that we're having are for you. So please get us some feedback. Once you do, upon receipt, we will be forwarding over some of the key information that Mr. Jones shared with us, along with the recording.
I'm Jay, man. Call me Jay.
Jay, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Jay, all right. Hey,
Yeah.
W.A. Ross raised me right, so I had to say that. But we're gonna call you Jay since you said it. But
that's it. Yep.
So want to get once again say a special thanks to you, Jay.
Appreciate you.
I'm looking at the chat, and the feeling is mutual. So many appreciative folks here. I know they didn't have a lot of questions, but sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and we're gonna process it. I do encourage everybody watching, rewatch it. Once you get that recording, as I mentioned in our last session, sometimes the best learning is when you're able to sit through it twice, hit pause, rewind, go back and get that point, make notes. Matter of fact, watch it 2 or 3 times, because some of these tips that were shared here today are so key. Sometimes we blast past stuff, and this is foundational information that was shared today. Also want to say a special thanks to our team at Texas Small Farmers Ranchers, CBO, and last but certainly not least, to each one of you, taking your time out this evening to join us. So please be on the lookout in our newsletter, on our website, and in your email inbox for our next online meeting coming up on Tuesday. This time we're going to move it to Tuesday, April 26th, same time slot, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So save that date. We're putting together a presentation for business planning that's farm related. So stay tuned for that. With that, we'll wrap things up. Thanks everybody for joining us today.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yes, yes, indeed.
Once again, man, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to share on your platform. I truly appreciate it, man. It's a blessing. I'm living my assignment, and I just thank you so much for allowing me to share, man. I really appreciate it. And if any of you guys want to reach out individually, Phil has my contact information also on the sheet that I gave Phil. Resources are there, but please feel free to reach out. I'm just a regular dude that's been through a whole heck of a lot in terms of entrepreneurship, and I'll be more than happy to help you any way that I can. But I truly appreciate it.
Appreciate you too, bro. We like your style, so something tells me we'll be seeing you soon. We'll be talking again.
Just call me, man. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody, take care.
Take care, guys.
All right, God bless.
All right, bye-bye.